Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Endzone 2. You join us back in the thick of things and a lot has changed here. I've been doing a bit of work off cam at Newtown to get our settlements sorted and flowing a little bit more effectively, and it's looking a lot better. I've also done the same over in Medici, who have run out of scrap. You can see the scrapyard has nothing going on in it, but we are able to get the recycler up and running and bring in some scrap from our buggies. I did say that I was going to make the vehicle workshop. That's already been done, and we've already built our first buggy, so we now have two buggies that are creating a semi-reliable trade route. We're going to get into that a little bit later on, probably in another episode, so that we can get something going on. But the first thing that we want to do today, and the major thing that I think we need to do, is build another settlement here. What I do want to do is get into my research though, because I think we need to have a little bit of a focus on getting electricity hooked up. So we're going to build a connector to begin with, maybe a relay station. We're going to try and get as many of these electricity stuff up and running. Basically, we are going to need some stuff to get this started. So you can see here the connector is ready to go. That allows us to link the power grid of a zone with the rest of the wasteland. So we can have power going across the wasteland and delivering to loads of different settlements. I do want to repair the bridge at some point, but I am wary of the raiders that are patrolling. There's one right there that you can see. We do need to be very careful. Oh no, that's my buggy. The raiders who are over here, you can see right here, we've got Mike the Mega Devourer already. If we get a unit too close to that building, they're going to attack, but there are also raiders roaming around the landscape. There's something else that we need to talk about. You are probably already aware by the time this episode comes out that Gently Mad Studios are closing. They will have closed by the time this episode goes out. They're closing at the end of September, which is incredibly unfortunate because this game still had legs. There was still lots that they could do and lots that they needed to do to it, but unfortunately that's now not going to happen. This is a decision that I don't understand, and I've looked into it and tried to make sense of it, but I can't. And it's a big shame because the game had so much potential, and there was a lot more to come from it. But we are going to continue with this series. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't. It's still a great game. There's still lots that you can do in it. It's just, unfortunately, no further progress are going to be made. But speaking of progress, we are going to have a look at the two settlements that we could potentially build here. So we've got a coal mine here, two coal deposits. We've also got some clay, and we've got some restorable rooms in the form of an old wind turbine and an old park here. Then over in this area, we've got one restorable old wind turbine, lots of space and a little bit of water. But most importantly, there's two lots of fertile soil, two lots of clay, and two lots of coal there, as well as some wild animals that we can kind of have a look at and exploit for resources. But there's not a lot of buildable area here unless we go up and clear that big housing estate out. Then we can kind of get a lot of stuff put in place. We're right next to the wind turbine there, but it does require quite a bit of construction to do that. It's also really close to the coal mine, which isn't great for residential areas. So this actual layout of this zone isn't good. But over here, it seems to be a little better. We've got lots of forest there. The coal mine can go up in the back. We've got a little bit of space here where we can start putting in our resources. But again, that's right next to the fertile land. So looking at the map of this area, we kind of need to clear out there where that housing development is. We've got the park there. So realistically, you'd want to put all of your buildings up there. And that's probably what we should do. We do cut it really close to both sets of fertile land there, but there is a third one over here which will be ripe for the picking, really. So that's good. The only issue I have is if I want to put any production buildings, there's going to be some problems potentially impacting our settlers. But over here, there's quite a big space around the park, so it might not be that much of a problem. The only issue I do have is building my town centre. I'd want my town centre to be kind of in and around that space there, but we'll settle here. I think that's going to be a good call. So what we need to do for our settlement is we need to go to our settlement itself. We need to bring 10 people at least to kick things off, and then we want to pull in a bit of water, a bit of wood. We want to give them some food as well, and they're probably going to need some plastic and some scrap. We'll also bring some tools with us. Some scrap. Where's the scrap? It's probably up at the top. There's the scrap, and we'll also bring in some activated carbon masks. Right, I think that's good. So then we will head off to this area here. There's a space to drive up there. I just remove that. We can drive up there and drop off. And that's kind of, but I want the housing over here. We can drive up to here. I think this should be a good space for us. So we can put our new logistics area there, the loading bay or loading point, put it there. And then we should be able to build our new settlement. You can see the water's already starting to go down, so we're going to need to be pretty quick with how we get this set up. There's not a great deal of water here, which could be difficult for us, but it should be enough to get us started. We can at least build some of the buildings that we need to put in place here. And like I said, small population, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. There we go. We are building our new settlement here. Then our town center is going to go right in this space here. We're going to come back. We're going to try and keep it lined up. One more touch back. There we go. Excellent. So our town center goes in, and our new settlement has been constructed. So Rusty Rolph wants to help us out for some reason over something. I don't know why, but anyway, we are now up and running. Let's see what these guys would like us to do first. They're low on scrap. They want us to produce scrap. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. We can do that. We're going to pause while I start building the basic logistics here. And we always need to start with our first jetty, which we can just slot in right there next to the fertile ground. Then we'll put a gravel path that goes in and down to here. Now we do only have the one clay deposit there, so we're probably not going to produce bricks because that clay deposit is right there, and getting a clay mine up and running there is not going to be a good idea really, unless we have a quick look at we can put it there, but it's right next to the town center. We could also put it there. I mean, the houses are going to kind of go backwards a little bit so that they're in where the park is, so that might actually work in our favor. It just means right now it's going to be difficult for us to fit anything in, given that we want to restore that park. Looking there, we can put a house there and another one here, and we can fit in a second one there and another one here once we clear out that building. We do need to make sure that we have enough for people to kind of gain access to and get the resources that they're going to need. So we'll put another one down this length of the park. We could potentially fit one there and another one there once it's been built. And then we can't fit one there because of that tiny little block. So we'll leave that open. I don't want to I don't want to mess around with the look of it really, and quite like having a really nice uniform settlement with everything kind of working on a nice little grid. So looking at what we need here, we do need cloth. That's the one thing that I've forgotten, so I'll send my Pathfinder back over to Newtown to pick up some cloth. And then coming over here, we're calling this Crimson Canyon, which I don't think is too bad a name. We need what we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6. Our houses are fine. We are going to need some food now, so we'll start with a basic fishery, and that can go in somewhere here. Put it there. It does interfere with a bit of the land, but that's okay. That can go in. We've got a fishery in, and then we're also going to go with a foraging hut, and I'll put the foraging hut quite off into the landscape here. We'll put it not on the riverbank. Don't want it next to the lake really. We'll go a little bit further afield. We'll come into here like that. Then we'll have our gravel path go up to it. And then over here, we want some logistics. So we're going to put a food depot in right there. And that'll cover both of those. And then we'll put in a cistern. And the cistern can go there. Then further afield, just so we're not interfering with it, we're going to put in our first woodcutter's hut, and then get some scrap stuff on the way as well. So that's going to go a little bit further afield again. Then we'll go to our raw materials. We want a woodcutting lodge, and that's going to go right there. And then we're going to change their work area immediately to just over the edge there. We'll put a tree nursery in here, place that, and then their work area is going to go probably here as well, just to try and keep on top of the trees and not let anything go to waste. Then, because we are quite close here, we're going to put a scrapyard in right there, and we're just going to have them work on this space straight away to take all of that down as quickly as possible. We'll then put a recycler right next to it, and they'll eventually be moved. So what we need to do now is we need to get in some timber, which we're short on. So again, when our Pathfinder gets home, they can make a start on that. Now, we've already got some contaminated resources because the water that we've pulled from our settlement was contaminated, which isn't great. So potentially getting coal up and running very soon is going to be a good idea. So if we go over to our coal mine, we'll have a look at where we need to place that. I think there was some coal. Where is it? Let's have a look over here. There it is. Right, it's right on the edge there next to... Oh, actually, that works out pretty well. So let's put in our coal mine. We'll build the mine, and we'll build it right here if we can, so that the road can just go right up to it. A little bit more there. There we go. Right, that's done. And eventually, once we get that coal mine up and running, that's going to start producing some coal, which will help us out with a lot of our other buildings. Good. So, and then I think somebody wanted some protective clothing there. That was in... Where was it? Medici. They want rubber gloves. And then we're going to go here. We're going to trade. We are going to take out more wood. We're going to take a little bit more as well, the more than we need. And we'll take 2 lots of cloth. We'll also grab some coal just to keep them topped up there. And probably some more scrap tools, actually. They'll be good to take along. Good. Right, now we'll head back over and drop all of this stuff off. Excellent. Right, that's a decent start, but we do need to produce some rubber gloves here in Medici. And I don't think they have the ability to do that because we don't have our own tailor's workshop yet. If I just have a quick look around here, going into my construction menu and then trades and crafts, yes, they don't have a tailor. But that is also because there's no fertile ground here. It's just swampland. Looks like we're going to come into a drought, which puts Crimson Canyon in a bit of a difficult situation. Not ideal. We're going to quickly trade these goods then, and then we better go back to... Let's go to the water treatment plant, actually, and collect water from there, because they're fully stocked. Over here, they're looking not too bad, but we really need to let's get the forager's hut done first. I think we've already got that done. Yes, we have. Right, so we'll have them forage very quickly. We'll put 3 people to work there. We'll do the same with a jetty so that we start building up our water, and the same with the fishery. We need to try and push the food up as high as possible. Then we'll get our scrap and stuff up and running, and then we'll build some huts so that people have somewhere to live. Looking at our level of homeless settlers, that should now start going up once they've been built. We don't have anyone available to build them yet, so let's take 1 out of the fishery and 1 out of the jetty. Should still be okay to build those things, and then they can get to work. Bit of a bad time to have a drought, to be honest, but I think we'll take it. We'll be all right. We have made it to there, so we'll pull all of the water in. It is contaminated, which is not ideal. Not quite sure why that's not running. Thought that was a water treatment plant that was able to give me non-contaminated water, but apparently not. We can supply it with electricity to boost the efficiency of it, and that would involve kind of making that happen very quickly. We've also got the biogas plant here, which will produce electricity, and it has 70 installed, but I think it's because it doesn't have any batteries in it. But it will produce at least 1020 per minute. So if we get that up and running very quickly, we should be in a very good position. The last thing I'm going to do, I've got a vehicle just coming in now. We're just going to pause a second, and I'm going to have a look at what it's taking on. Right, it's not the one that I want, because there should be a vehicle somewhere. Yes, here it is, taking scrap. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them just come back up here. There's the drought coming in. Although we might be able to get our... Yes, we can. So they got all of the water there, so that's fine. They can just rest easy for now. And the drought is going to last 6 minutes. So I think we might manage all right with that. So that's not too much of a problem. What do they want? They want greenery. They want to build a tree nursery. Well, we've actually got one queued up, but it doesn't have enough scrap to get to work. So if we put 1 person to work in the scrapyard and 1 to work in the recycler, they will start getting the scrap for us. So I'm just going to very quickly... Yeah, we've already accepted it, and they're low on wood, so we'll accept that as well, because they should now be producing wood. So once we get scrap, we can get the wood cutting lodge up and running. I think we actually just completed that. So we just need to build our tree nursery, and that should help us out immensely, really. We can now build the tree nursery. That'll give us a reward of some timber, and then we can have our Pathfinder head back to pick up some rubber gloves from here, and they will then drop them off. Looking at Newtown, they're doing pretty well for water. Food is a little bit of a worry. Over in Medici, we're okay. They're definitely going to last. They should be fine. But we're going to need to boost the food over here in Newtown, and that might involve us building our first farm. Now, you can see we've got quite a lot of farmland here that's already being used, but we also have somewhere else over here we can actually start putting down a farm. So I'm going to build that now. The problem with the farms is they do use quite a bit of water. So if we have a look over here at our raw materials, we can go to the farm, which we should have unlocked. Plantation, there we go. Upgraded plantation. Is it in food? Have I just totally missed that? Yes, there it is. An upgraded farm. Now, we're going to place this here. It should just go on the edge. I reckon maybe we just put it here. That should still be able to be filled up. Once that's been built, we could actually probably get rid of some of our other buildings that are here. We are going to need to do some research, so let's have a look. The connectors we can research now. That connector, link the power grid of a zone with that of the wasteland. The relay station needed for every power grid. Only buildings that are connected to the relay station via electricity poles can contribute, store, or consume electricity. And the battery will store up power. So we're going to build our connector first, because we're going to need to get that done. Then we're going to have a look at the relay station and see what we need to build that. Looking at it again, actually on the research tab, you can see that we need copper cable. Now, we don't have copper cable yet. They're produced from copper and rubber by electronics engineers. And then our iron tools, we know that we can get them from Rusty. Now, Rusty won't sell us copper cable, but he will sell us copper. So it could well be that we find a way to trade with Rusty and get all of that back in so that we can get some copper. But what do we trade with Rusty? Well, I'm going to take a load of coal out of here because we are making quite a substantial amount of that. We're then going to head down to Rusty and we are going to trade our coal for copper. Over here at Crimson Canyon, we have a question mark here. They want us to upgrade this to an upgraded jetty. Now, we can't do that yet because we don't have enough iron tools, so maybe we should, instead of trading for the copper right now, we should trade for iron tools. So let's go. We've unlocked our connector. That is not Rusty Rolph, that is a scrapyard. So where's Rusty? There he is. Let's head back over to him. And we're going to put in our trade. Entering our trading post. We're going to give him all of this coal. Like that. And then we're going to take iron tools off him. Now, this doesn't give me a lot, I don't think. We can give him a few more back. There we go. And then copper, obviously, we're going to have to come back and do that. But we'll leave the trading post for now. Then we're going to head over to Crimson Canyon again, and we're going to drop off those iron tools so we can upgrade that water jetty, and that will just boost the efficiency of it as well, which will give us a little bit more of a bonus in terms of getting things done. Now, this is contaminated, so we're going to have to look very quickly at getting our decontamination kits set up, and they require a decontamination station. Now, looking over here, there's copper in this first settlement here. There's fertile soil and there's some restorable ruins. There's an old warehouse and a decaying mine. Now, this will mine coal. You can see there, it tells you. It's not iodine, but over here we have iron ore, we have fertile soil, we've got an old warehouse again, and an old medicine factory. So not really what we're looking for, which is a bit of a shame, but we can get this done. Now, looking over here, have we finished building our farm? Yes, we have our upgraded farm. Now, we can change our seed here, and we have currently got, there's lupine, which produces food, and that gives us 174 food per minute. We are only getting a little bit from the other one, so we'll go with lupine, because that's going to give us a really nice amount of food. We're then going to plant our seeds in this space here, and I think, oh, that's 100. Right, we're going to take off this row here. We're then going to put another row in there. And we can take off a little bit more on the end and just bulk that out a little bit further. That'll do. Right, so now we just need some people to work in it. Now, the problem when we do this is our water stocks will start to decrease. But this is going to give us a lot of food. Luckily, we don't seem to have used all of the water that we could possibly get rid of, so that's fine. Then, looking back over here, we can drop off these tools. There we go. Drop them all off. And hopefully we can now build our upgraded water jetty. Yes, we can. Good. So that's getting done now. And that'll give us a nice reward of some water. We still haven't produced those rubber gloves, so we are going to go back to our settlement of Newtown, and we are going to pick up some rubber gloves that have been produced here, drop them off at Medici, and that will complete that quest as well. So good, we've set up another settlement, got that reward there as well. Let's have a look at our research tab again. We need copper cable from there. Battery is going to require copper cable. We've got everything we need for the battery, so we'll research that as well. The electronics workshop will produce copper cables from copper and rubber or transformers from copper and iron. So the electronics workshop will be a good one to have, and then we can focus on the relay station, because if we produce those copper cables, we can unlock the relay station, and all we need to get is a supply of copper. And we can do that without opening a copper mine. So that actually works out in our favor quite nicely. But before we do that, we're going to grab these rubber gloves so we can complete that task for Medici. There's rubber gloves there. We've got quite a lot of rubber gloves actually, so I'm going to pool all of them in. We're going to take 100 lots of them. Actually, let's give them 200. Why not? We might as well keep them stocked up with their radiation protection. And then our next kind of task at Crimson Canyon is to build more stuff, basically. So we need to upgrade a lot of the logistics and things like that. If we get 150 scrap, we can actually restore that old park, and that'll make this surrounding area very attractive, which is great. So that's the battery now researched. Then the electronics workshop will be the next thing we do. Heading back down to, all right, okay, yes, good. We have now arrived at Medici, so we're going to dump all of them in, and that completes that quest as well. Then we want to head back to our main settlement of Newtown. We've got some empty work areas here. The scrapyard in Newtown is kind of completely exhausted everything. We're going to give them this now, so that's quite a lot of scrap for them to take down. But you can see things are starting to kind of get a little bit difficult as we run out of scrap. Now, there is one thing we can do. Further down, there is a scrap collector somewhere, a recycling center, which generates scrap in the surrounding area. And we are going to need that over all of our settlements eventually as we run out of scrap. And we can't do that until we've unlocked these next tiers. So we're going to unlock some additional research there, and that gives us the opportunity to get that recycling center unlocked, which is going to be really useful in the long term, especially if we want to kind of wait as long as possible before moving into Zone 2. And I do want to wait as long as possible before moving into Zone 2, because that's a big risk that we'd be taking going there straight away. Right, we have plenty of hops and plenty of cannabis, so we're going to take a load of cannabis out and we're going to sell that to Rusty Rolph, and we're going to start trading for copper. So we also have a little task that we can do for Rolph, and that should actually give us a nice little reward. So we're going to do this trade. We're going to see how much copper we get for our cannabis, and then we will come back to him later on. We've just made it there. Good. So we can enter our trading post. He's going to give us a merchant job. He wants a car tire, so we'll do that, and we'll do that, and we will give him all of this stuff here, and then we want to get copper. So that's going to give us 50. Right, we're going to get a lot of copper from Rolph here. This is good. So we can probably get around about, there we go, 64 units of copper for the hemp, or the cannabis, if you want to call it that. Then we're going to head back home and drop this off. That's really good. And we'll get a better deal as we increase our reputation with Rolph as well. So that gives us a lot to work with. Looking at stuff here, it looks like the decontamination has come down a little. It's starting to work, so that's good. Our resources are starting to become less decontaminated. We're going to put someone else to work in that upgraded jetty. Got a bit of a population boost here, so that's something that we're going to need to manage accordingly. We're now going to build that. We've also just unlocked the electronics workshop, which produces copper cable and capacitors, or whatever they're called, transformers, I think, and that's going to be very useful for us as well. Now, a bathhouse, a park, and a pavilion has been asked for by our settlers. We can't do any of that right now. Let's have a quick look. We've got our food depot there. We've also got our scrapyard. We're going to pump a few more people to work in that scrapyard, and we're going to do the same with the recycler there, because once I clear that away, that should be really good. There's 1070-ish scrap left in that area. We can now build the old park back up again, and once that's been done, we'll have a nice functioning area. So looking over here again, we're going to trade out this copper, then we're going to head down to that task area where Rusty Rolph wants us to go and pick up the car tyre, then drop it off to him. Happy days. Right, okay, that's gone quite well. Newtown has no iron tools left, but we don't actually have any iron to do anything with. The vulcanizer also doesn't have any natural latex left for some reason. Even though I definitely have... We've got plantations there with reeds. And we've got natural latex there. Maybe we need another natural latex plantation. I think we can place an upgraded plantation if we just have a look, because these are all upgraded. So if we go over to here, we go to our where is it, trades and crafts, no, raw materials, and we go to our plantation. We're going to put a plantation right here, and that will produce natural latex once it's done. So we've got a drought coming in. We're going to have to be very careful here, and we're going to trade here, take in these tires like so. Then we're going to head over to Rolph. Hopefully, again, this won't be a long drought, but we are going to have to be very prepared to protect Crimson Canyon at all costs. They are able to get in quite a bit of water from that jetty. It is contaminated, though, so we do need to be very, very careful with that. We can upgrade our cistern with some bricks. They'll start decontaminating that water by filtration. Looking over here, do we have everything kind of upgraded here in terms of... Yes, we do. So we've got cisterns everywhere. Yes, we're going to finish that job for you, Rolph. That's good. That gives us a nice boost to our reputation with him. Then we're going to head back up here. We're going to grab some bricks. We're going to grab some water as well from Newtown, because I think a lot of that will not be contaminated. Looking at this lot over here, though, it looks like we're starting to get a nice little... We still don't have much plastic there, so with our recycler, it is working maxed out. It doesn't have electricity, though, but we can start producing electricity-based stuff very soon. So what I'm going to do is, we've come over here, we're going to grab some water, as much water as we can, and we're just going to hold that in the Pathfinder just in case we need it. We're also going to take in all of the food as well. Was there something else I wanted to grab? Yes, there was. It was bricks. So where are my bricks? I think there should be some somewhere. 65 lots of bricks. I'll take 50. So our brickworks has slowed down a little bit because we've had to juggle around some of our settlers. We'll head back off in that way, and then we'll have to prepare for the drought. Now, the coal mine here, we can get up and running very soon, but I'm not really bothered about that just yet. But if it can produce its own coal, that's going to be very useful. Now, with our rubber and our vulcanizer, you can see here, we've now built this. So we're going to change the seed to natural latex, and we are going to just plant all of this here. We're going to go out that way. Then we're going to go here until it completes. Good. Then we're going to put 3 people to work in there. And we probably need some more housing. But what I'd like to do instead is to bring in... Oh, that's a drought. That's the drought now coming in. And these guys want some radiation protection. So they want activated carbon masks, and we can do that for them. So we'll head back to... In fact, if we go up to Medici, they should have some carbon masks. Oh, they don't. They don't have many. Right, we're going to pop over here, and we're going to get them sorted. And I think we'll leave it there as we enter this drought. So I hope you have enjoyed watching today. We've got another settlement established. Things are looking pretty good, apart from the drought that we're currently in. I can't remember how long it lasts for, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you for another episode of Endzone 2. Bye-bye.